What if the deck of cards sitting in your kitchen drawer isn't just a game of chance? What if it's actually a living, breathing map of your soul? In today's conversation, you're going to discover that the ordinary deck of 52 playing cards is an ancient book of life, a sacred technology that reveals the hidden patterns of your reality. If you have ever felt that you were dealt a bad hand or that life is just happening to you, this episode is going to change everything. Stay tuned because later in the episode, you're about to learn how to decode your soul's blueprint, stop repeating the same old cycles, and finally step into your power as the conscious player of your own life. Let's awaken your authentic self together. Welcome back to Awaken Your Authentic Self. I'm your host, Jessica Rooks, and this is our sacred space for soul-led seekers, spiritual empaths, and truth tellers who are ready to rise into their fullest expression. Each week, we take a journey inward, blending intuitive wisdom, spiritual tools, and heart-centered conversations to help you peel back the layers of conditioning and remember who you truly are. If you are ready to live your truth and align with your soul's purpose, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Today, I am deeply honored to welcome two incredible guests to the show, Alexander Dunlop and Viki Scudiery. Alexander is a Harvard-trained philosopher, a former Wall Street consultant, and the best-selling author of Play Your Cards Right, A Sacred Guide to Life on Earth. His journey is fascinating. He went from a state championship athlete and corporate consultant to a spiritual seeker, exploring everything from Roman Catholic seminary to indigenous traditions in India, until he discovered the ancient wisdom hidden in plain sight within the deck of cards. Viki is an intuitive healer, the founder of Source Healing, and a graduate of the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. Her path took her from walking international runways as a model and recording a jazz album as a singer-songwriter to a profound awakening where she reclaimed her gifts as a pure channel of source energy. Together, they are sacred strategy guides for the game of life. They blend masculine structure and feminine intuition to help high-achieving seekers from CEOs and artists break free from invisible patterns and finally live the life they were meant for. Alexander and Viki, welcome to Awaken Your Authentic Self.
Wow, Jessica, that was a fabulous introduction. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that introduction.
Yeah.
I think we need to hire you to do our PR.
Well, I like to just not touch the surface stuff. I'm not about the fluffy frosting. I like to go into the flavorful cake filling, So
Yes.
I'll bring you there with me right from the beginning. Well, thank you again for being here. I am so excited. And I'm so excited to just dive into the how of breaking our patterns. But before we get there, we have to understand what this tool actually is. Alexander, you have a background in philosophy and Wall Street logic, while Viki brings that intuitive healing. Alexander, to the skeptic in my audience who sees a deck of cards as just a game of poker or go fish, how do you explain the mathematical precision behind the deck mirroring the solar year, 52 years, 4 suits, seasons? Is this a discovery of ancient technology or just a psychological tool for modern self-mastery?
Well, it's both. It's all of the above. It is an ancient tool that was hidden in plain sight, and it is a map of our human psychological state. It's also a map of our space-time matrix. It's also a map of our relationship dynamics. It's also a map of time itself. It's all of the above. It's a system that represents the fractal harmonics of our space-time reality. The way that our reality is constructed is the microcosm is reflected in the macrocosm. That's the idea of fractal, that the patterns that are in the smallest atomic structure are the same patterns that are in the galaxies. And it's all one pattern, just on different scales. And that's what these cards represent, is the patterning of reality itself. You asked about how the deck mirrors the solar year. That's one example of the patterning, that there are 52 cards in the deck, 52 weeks in the year, the four suits and the four seasons, and you have 13 cards in each suit from ace to king. You have 13 weeks in each season. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When you add up the face values of the cards, you have the ace is worth 1, then the 2 through 10, the jack is 11, the queen is 12, the king is 13. So you add up the face values of all the cards, you add them together, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and so on. You add them all up, all the 52 cards, and you'll get 364. The Joker is the 53rd symbol in the
Wow.
52 part structure. And the 53rd symbol of the Joker, he is also the fifth element in the four-part system. You have the hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. That's the four parts. The Joker is the fifth element. And his mathematical representation is of his interplay with the four-part structure, or 5 over 4, which, for those of you who love fractions, reduces to 1 and 1/4. So you add the Joker back into the deck, you get 365 and a quarter. It's a perfect map of our solar year. In ancient times, and this is ancient, we don't know exactly how old it is, and we can certainly get into that if you want on the history of it, but it is ancient. Everyone agrees on that, even the skeptics. And in ancient times, books didn't have bindings.
Mm-hmm.
Like books of the Bible were written on scrolls and parchment. They were still known as books.
Right.
So these 52 loose leaves, 53 including the Joker, in ancient circles would have been known as a little book of our life on Earth. And that's what it is. It's a little book that represents the seasons and cycles of life on Earth. What I realized in my own research is that this is none other than the book of life, the same book of life that the Bible refers to. That's how old it is, and that's how sacred it is that the biblical writers were aware of it and spoke about it, and we've all thought it was a metaphorical, kind of allegorical reference wherever the Bible refers to it. But what I realized is it's actually a literal reference to a book that was known in ancient spiritual circles. But the real way that a skeptic will be convinced, the only way actually, is to try it out for themselves, to take it for a test drive, to see how it plays out when you apply the information in your own life. That's the only way it makes sense. It's a lived experience. Based on your date of birth, you have 13 cards, and that's your template, and you start playing your cards. You know what your cards are, you find them out, and you live it. And that's the only way you'll ever be convinced.
Well, I have to say, when I visited your website, you had a spot there with the cards. I put my birth date in, and I came up as a 3 of diamonds and a 9 of spades. And as I read the interpretations, it just floored me.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It floored me. I was like, this just feels very real. So just in that little bit there, you convinced me. Well, Viki, I want to touch on the why of this work. Your journey involved a profound shift from modeling and music to energy healing after a medical crisis. Many of my listeners are spiritual empaths currently in that messy middle, the void between their old life and their new calling. How can the source cards help someone navigate the specific transition period when they feel lost or like they've been dealt a bad hand?
Well, just finding out cards to play can just bring so much awareness to one's life path. It's such a confirmation as to one's life purpose, as to the challenges, the shadow side. It shows all the different aspects of our human being. So just in first learning them and digesting it, taking in the information, accepting that I believe as a soul, we choose our birthday. We choose these past particular patterns to play based on the date of birth. And then we come in to play this game, to play this hand that we've been dealt. And it's all in how we play it, all in how we choose to play it. We're not a victim. We create our reality based on our belief systems. There's a high side and a low side to these energy patterns. And so how are we playing it? So And it's like you could have lots of different professions with the same cards. It's again, it's what are you focusing on and how are you playing the energy patterns? Are you playing it well? Are you not playing it well? And it's empowering because it's like it's a way to take your power to activate your own essence versus someone else's essence. I mean, a lot of times people compare themselves to other people, like someone else who's successful, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe that person's not successful in that way, but most likely they have very different cards, so they're trying to follow someone else's protocol and it's not right for them.
Right.
So knowing your cards can help you to activate why you're here and play your cards well.
And I love that on your cards you show the positive and the negative. If you play your cards right versus if you don't, it'll show you. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the. I just love the whole concept, the whole everything about it, and I also love your metaphor that we are all handed a musical instrument or a box of crayons at birth. But this
Hmm.
raises a big question. How much of our life is the sheet music, predestined, versus the improvisation, the free will? How do we distinguish between a soul lesson we need to accept and a pattern that we need to change or break?
Well, you've asked three questions in one there.
Oh, I love to do
Um,
that.
I'm
Get
gonna
used to it, Alexander.
I'm gonna see if I can do one at a time.
Sure.
The first one you asked was about the difference between the sheet music and the improvisation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the template is given at the date of birth. So you have your three of diamonds birth card, your nine of spades personality, and then you have your life path of 13 cards. And then every year, also based on mathematical algorithm, you have new cards that you're dealt, that you have given to you. That's the sheet music. How you choose to play it is your free will. That's what you have the choice to do. And how you choose to play it will make all the difference between a fulfilling life or an unhappy, miserable life, a life of rich abundance or a life of depression and dark space. So you have the free will to choose how you're going to play out the sheet music. Now, we would also say that you chose the sheet music to begin with when, as a soul, for lack of a better way of saying it, as a soul, before you incarnated, you chose your date of birth, you chose the themes that you wanted to explore as a soul. So, really, you chose the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
but from within a human frame, with as far as the human mind knows, you have a given sheet of music, and you still have free will about how you want to choose to play it.
I
Does
love that
that does that make
distinction. Yes.
sense?
Also, I want to add that so, like, okay, for example, you're playing the three of diamonds, you have the choice between playing the high side of marching to the beat of your own drum,
Mm-hmm.
being empowered, activating, doing your thing, being a leader. People will follow you as you beat, to your own drum. Or when it's turned sideways, there can be a lot of anxiety and indecisiveness, right? So that's like, how are you playing it? What are you choosing? But you cannot suddenly choose to play an eight of diamonds. So that's like you've chosen that card for your whole life in this lifetime. So that's another aspect of it. You can't suddenly be like, okay, I want to play the eight of diamonds now, right? You are playing the three of diamonds birth card for your whole life.
So it's kind of like your birth chart. You just can't up and change it.
Exactly.
It is
Yeah.
an exact metaphor. It's like the
Yeah.
stars are where they are when you're born, and that is what it is. It's the same idea.
Perfect. That's very clear. Perfect. Now that
And
actually.
then do you want to finish the rest of your question? I
Oh,
can't remember the rest of.
sure.
Or you move us on however you want to do it.
Well,
I
the
feel like
second.
there was more.
How do
Yeah.
you distinguish between the soul lesson that we need to accept and the pattern that we need to change or break? But I feel like you kind of did answer that
Okay.
because
Great.
it's kind of just like you said. It's predestined. It is what it is, and you just you need to accept it. Well, you know what? Go ahead and answer it because I'm very
Yeah,
interested in your
there's
interpretation on that.
yeah, there is an answer there, and it's actually a really important distinction that you're asking about because that's often where people get the most stuck
Mm-hmm.
is they don't realize that it's in their cards that this is a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 of diamonds as your birth card means that your soul challenge, we could say it's your primary challenge in life, is represented as the 6 of hearts. And that's hearts, and it's lining up your heart. And so it's emotional karma, potentially with your family or your relationships. That's going to be your biggest challenge is in your emotions and how you find peace of heart and peace in your life, peace in your home, peace in your relationships. And if you didn't know that, you might get really angry at yourself or judge yourself that that's challenging for you. Now, is that true for you, that that's a challenge for you?
It used to be. It used to be
Mm,
before I learned, actually, before I learned boundaries and how to put them in
okay.
place and realize that no was a whole sentence and boundaries are for everyone with no exception.
Yes.
Because I was
Wonderful. So,
very,
Yeah,
very,
that's great.
very emotional for most of my life to the point where it was like, people were like, do you walk around with a box of tissue? Because it was either extreme
mhm,
anger
Mm,
or extreme sensitivity and tears all the time. But a lot of that
right,
right.
I realize now had to do with the way I grew up,
Hmm.
right.
and it
Right.
was all of those challenges that I had to overcome, come to terms with, forgive myself for, forgive others for,
Yes.
in order to
Mm,
find peace and balance and unconditional
Yes.
love and know that I was worthy of everything I ever wanted in my life. So,
Beautiful.
wow.
Well, you're saying something really important, which I love hearing, and we hear this often in our work, that people who have done the inner work and have done that inner processing that you've done, you'll find these answers whether or not you knew it in the cards. Like you knew that and you found your way to finding peace in your heart. So it's a beautiful testament to your journey that you found your way to that. And it's also another way of pointing out how accurate these cards are, that even if you didn't know your source cards, you knew from your own experience that your emotions were your biggest challenge and you needed to face that.
oh, absolutely. And like Vicky said earlier about, going to the beat of your own drum,
Mm,
I finally decided after 16 years to leave my corporate job and
mm,
follow, spirit just put in my heart, like, you need to not be here anymore. And
right.
I'm in the process of doing something I've never done in my life, and that's traveling the world with my soul partner. You know,
Amazing.
we left
Wow.
everything, sold everything, and just decided to get everything in place. And we started in Spain for 3 months. We've been in Thailand for almost 6 weeks now. We've got our plans already to go to Philippines after this, and we're just living and not surviving
I
and
love it.
So inspiring.
and I'm teaching as I go along, and I'm spreading these messages and sharing this medicine with everyone who will listen. So
Amazing. So
Brilliant.
you're marching to
Amazing.
the beat of your own drum and you're
exactly.
living your life.
Yes.
And I found someone who's
So
completely supportive of that and loves it about me and just encourages every aspect of it.
wonderful. So then just to finish the answer, it sounds like you realized that that 6 of hearts energy, whether you knew it was called the 6 of hearts or not, that was the challenge you needed to face and you met that challenge. And that's a testament to you. But some people might run away from that challenge
Hmm.
or might judge themselves for that challenge. So, to answer your question, these source cards show you where you need to pay attention and what you need to face and what you need to accept so that you can see it clearly and then really face it for yourself.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad I gave you the opportunity to finish that. Well, this all leads me perfectly into the big question that I promised the listeners at the start of the show. So let's bring this home to awakening your authentic self. On my show, we often talk about rising into our fullest expression. You teach that the source cards reveal the source, code, or patterns of our reality. How does knowing your cards shift someone from feeling like a victim of their fate to becoming the active player of their game? Can you share an example of a specific pattern or card that often keeps high achievers stuck until they finally see it?
What was the first part of your question?
How does knowing your cards shift someone from feeling like a victim of their fate to becoming
Okay.
the active player of their game?
Okay, great.
So I feel like, even just knowing, for example, the birth card can be such a game changer for even high achievers, very successful people that could feel empty inside, even though they're super successful on the outside. And sometimes what will happen is, like, maybe they're actually playing a heart card, for example. So there's the hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. Hearts is emotions, and yet they've been taught to use their willpower. And something's missing for them because they're not actually activating their emotional intelligence. They're not being emotional in the workplace. They're not being vulnerable and expressing their feelings in the workplace. And so, like, once they find out, wait a minute, I'm playing the Eight of Hearts, for example, and I'm, been, like, using my will and doing things a different way, that when they discover, wait a minute, I'm an emotional person, then it changes everything for them, because then they can really activate their true essence, the energy pattern that is in play for them that they've denied their whole life. So that is a real game changer, even just to know, even just the birth card, what pattern is in play for the person when they have absolutely no idea, and they're just sort of following the outside rules, or following, like, a mentor or somebody who's probably playing completely different cards than them. So that's one thing that can happen.
Yeah, and then the part about the shift from the victim to the mastery, that really is true for all the cards, in the sense of we could feel like, woe is me, why? For example, I'll use your card as an example, and it sounds like you've done a lot of work on yourself already to start to play the high side in a really beautiful, inspiring way. But if you hadn't done that, the three of diamonds, when it's spun sideways, can mean, as Viki said, financial anxiety, anxiety for your well-being, fear for your security, fear of your future, that would lead you to play it safe and not really trust your own inner guidance, your own gut instinct. You would want to just play it safe because you're afraid. And if that were true, then you would feel like a victim of your circumstances.
Right.
Like, oh, I can't leave this corporate job. I need a paycheck. And the downturn of the stock market, I can't quit now. I got to blah, blah. Whatever it may be, we can always blame external circumstances for why we're in a negative state. And what the cards show is how to activate it, how to take charge. And again, you already did it even before you knew you're here to march to the beat of your own drum and cut against the grain and go your own way. So that's wonderful. Again, testament to you. I didn't find that for myself. I needed these cards in order to show me what my game is. I'm that person that Viki was just describing. I'm born to play the Nine of Hearts, and I'm here as an emotional leader, someone who's here to inspire other people to lift up their heart. And I was a businessman. I called myself a businessman. I was a business owner, but I wasn't really in touch with my heart. And I never gave myself permission, because I thought it was a sign of weakness as a man to come forth from my heart space. It wasn't until I found out I'm born to play the Nine of Hearts that I finally gave myself full permission to actually be a heart-based person.
Oh, I love that. And that makes perfect sense. I mean, that's probably why corporate for me was so, that structure was horrible. It just,
Right.
I felt so, as much as I was trying to do everything from a heart space, I mean, I was that person. I went and hugged all my employees. They just, we had that kind of relationship. But, as higher management, and the ones above me just couldn't understand that. And even though my metrics were wonderful, they just kept telling me I was doing something wrong. And yeah, my
Because you weren't doing it their way.
exactly. And yeah, I was no, it didn't work for me. I'm glad I was strong enough to follow my instinct, because life has never
Yes.
flowed better for me.
That's such a beautiful testament to playing your
Yes.
cards right.
Yes.
That's the main thing that we teach people, is that when you start to play your cards right, life starts flowing.
And I always say I'm a water sign. I'm meant to flow. You know?
Yep. Yep.
Now, you two embody a balance of masculine structure and feminine intuition. In the spiritual community, we often see people swinging too far into surrender without strategy or hustle without soul. Now that we understand the shift, how does the structure of the source cards help spiritual entrepreneurs ground their high vibration ideas into actual tangible reality? One question this time, Alexander.
Say it again. That's
Well,
a
first I was
beautiful
going to start.
mouthful. Just how do spiritual entrepreneurs ground themselves in a high vibration? Is that what you asked?
Yes. How do the source cards, that structure, help spiritual entrepreneurs ground their high vibration ideas into actual tangible reality?
Well, the answer is in the question, because that is what the source cards do. They ground that high vibration in a tangible reality because it shows you the patterning. So, for example, if we had met before you were thinking about or deciding whether or not you were going to go on your adventure, and you were kind of in a state of wondering or questioning, I would have said to you, if you had come to me, oh, this is exactly in your cards. 3 of diamonds. You need to cut against the grain and march to the beat of your own drum. And you have a 9 of spades personality. You need to be extreme. It's all or nothing for you. It's not small measures. It's all in or all out. And that would have, I imagine, validated your instinct and grounded your decision in a patterning that you could have kind of taken hold of and be like, yes, that's exactly what I'm already feeling and seeing. And that's the feedback that we get. People tell us, wow, this is so validating. It's so confirming. And then it gives people permission. It's a mirror that people can see themselves clearly in, to see what they're already thinking about, already feeling, but maybe they're only 3/4 sure
Right.
or half sure. This is the validation that says, oh, it's in the cards for me. And oh, this ancient system is telling me the same thing that I'm already feeling. And in that sense, it really is grounding.
It really is. Like I said, when I read my cards I felt validated. Not that I felt like I needed validation at this time. I'm kind of, a whole bunch of months into this journey, but it's still,
Yeah.
as 3D souls, every once in a while, it's nice to see something that says, oh, okay, yeah, you are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, in a standard deck, we often will toss that joker aside. In the game of life system, what role does the Joker play? And is it a card of chaos or ultimate potential?
The Joker is the 5th element in a 4-part system. So the 4 parts being hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. And the Joker is outside the matrix of the 52 archetypes, the 52 cards. The Joker is the bridge between heaven and earth. And the Joker is a mirror for us. And it's like the joke's on us. He's all about, us really seeing the playful side. He's showing us, he's a mirror to all of the 52 patterns, the high side, the low side. He's showing us, all of it,
Is there anybody's birthday that would actually pull a Joker?
Yes.
December 31st.
Oh,
If you ever meet someone born on
Yes.
December 31st, you'll probably find that they're a little different. They're a little weird. They know that, they feel that, hence the classic archetype of the lonely clown. They feel a little lonely because they feel all alone. They feel like they get the joke and no one else does.
probably have a very weird sense of humor too, because I know someone born on December 31st. And
Yeah, they can have a
he's an
very
odd
weird
bird.
sense. Yeah, they can have a very weird sense of humor. They make great actors.
He is an actor.
Oh.
Because what Viki's saying, they can mirror any role. They can play any role. They also often have extrasensory abilities, like being clairaudient or clairsentient. They live in a netherworld in between, and so they have these extrasensory gifts often as well.
Wow. I'm going to have to talk to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's funny though because he was an electrician for all of his life, and even all of a sudden he just had this draw to acting and singing. He started doing like this playhouse thing on the side, and next thing you know, it kind of just took over his life, and he was really good at it.
He would be playing
That's
the Joker.
fantastic. I
Yep.
love that. That's great.
Absolutely. Well, for the
That's great.
empaths that are listening who struggle with boundaries, do the cards explain why we attract specific toxic patterns? Is there a chemistry in the cards that explains why we clash with some and flow with others?
So, as far as challenges, yes, there are cards in the life path that definitely show repeating like patterns for life, something that you might go through on a regular basis, like continuing to attract a certain kind of person and have a certain kind of situation. You'll see the life lessons and challenges in what's called the Saturn card. And there is an overlap with astrology. Saturn card being, representing life lessons and challenges. And then say if you meet someone who's playing your Saturn card, then that person could really be a challenge for you, right? So there's different aspects of it. It's the energy pattern itself within oneself that they're playing out that is challenging for them. I'll use myself as an example. My Saturn card is the Two of Clubs, which is about communication and conversation. And so that in my life has been challenging for me. I would have a fear of confrontation with people, of not really articulating myself well, and things like that. But then if I've met people, it's funny. I have a funny story. When I first learned this system, I looked up everybody in my life. I wanted to know everybody's cards to play. And it just was so healing and illuminating for me to know the energy patterns of other people versus mine. And there was this two people from my past relationships, a friend and a past boyfriend, both who had the same birthday. And I turns out that they're both playing the Two of Clubs, which is my Saturn card, life lessons and challenges. So it just explains so much to me. Like, no wonder I had this sort of tension with them, and it was challenging and frustrating for me. And I could see it in a different light. I could see, wow, they were my teachers,
Right.
teaching me about myself. They're mirrors for me. So it really brought so much healing to know that. So yes, you could meet someone that's playing a card in your life path, in a spot in the life path that's a challenging connection. The Soul Challenge, the Pluto card, the Saturn card, those are all energy patterns for someone that could be very challenging. And it depends on the person. Sometimes people really like that and
Right.
they go for it.
Right.
We know people who are married to where they have a Saturn and a Pluto connection, and they're happily married, and they communicate and they talk about things, and they're up for the challenge, and they want to learn and grow together. And then there are other people who, like, they're attracted to that person. Maybe they get married, and then like 2 years later they're divorced because they couldn't work through it, and it was really a challenging dynamic.
That's wow. I almost wish I had some birthdays just to
Yeah.
check.
Yeah, it's my favorite topic. It's profoundly accurate. I have found it to be in the dynamics of relationships. I absolutely love talking about it. It's just wonderful in how, and then then there's of course beautiful connections you can
Right.
have with people. Absolutely. And you're just like, oh my God, I feel this soul connection with this person. And there it is in the cards, and we can never predict how a relationship is going to go, because that's, up to two people and how they're taking responsibility for themselves within the relationship and talking about things and communicating about things. And you could have a great match that doesn't work. You could have a not great match that works. It's really all in how people choose to play these patterns.
Absolutely. And I think also just depending on how healed one person is versus the other also.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So it's not like the cards show you why necessarily you're attracting the toxic dynamic, But if you look into your pattern in your history, and anyone can do this, you can look up the cards on our website, you can look up all your past lovers. And if you start to notice a pattern there and all those relationships didn't go well, then you can see what the pattern is that didn't work well. And then from there, you can inquire. It becomes a starting point for the healing and coaching process. Why did I keep attracting that pattern? What was it about that pattern that I'm so attracted to and it didn't work? It becomes a way of beginning the introspective healing coaching process.
Well, I realized that the top 3 relationships, my first 2 husbands and the one after my late husband passed away, were all one. They just went up in toxicity. So there was a whole reason why I started doing the work on myself to figure out why am I doing this? What is, and when I found out the answers, it was life changing. And after that is when all the boundaries went up, and I said no more. At this point, I had a whole conversation with the universe and said, I'm done playing small. And you just need to remove everything from my life that no longer serves. And the next person who comes into my life will have 0 red flags. And a year later, he stepped right into my life.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, I have one last question for you guys, because I know that we've got time things going on. For someone listening right now who feels like they are playing a game that they don't understand, what is the very first step to peek at their hand and stop bluffing their way through life?
Well, again, you said the answer in the question is to pick up your hand, to look at your cards, to go to the website. It's free. We give it away. It's our mission. It's our vocation to give this knowledge away. We want everyone on the planet to know their cards. We want to help create a more enlightened society where children everywhere grow up knowing their cards to play. So we give it away. You can go to the website, look up your cards for free, look up everyone in your life for free, and start tuning in. Start seeing how it feels for you. Start embracing it. Start accepting it. It sounds like, Jessica, you've already done a lot of work, but let's say you found this system 20 years ago. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that, the difference
Where were
that
you
might have
20
made,
years ago?
right? That's our vision, is we want children everywhere to grow up knowing their cards to play.
Yeah.
And so what you can do you to stop bluffing your way through is take the small amount of time and effort that it is to look up your cards to play. And then maybe you can get my book as well and read your whole life path and make that small investment in yourself to learn your cards to play.
So you're saying if I buy the book, you'll have all the cards in there that I can figure out the rest of them? Because I know there's 13 cards to this life path,
There
right?
are. That's exactly right. I explained to you in the book how to look them all up and figure them all out for yourself.
Excellent. Is there one card that usually holds the key to our biggest breakthrough? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, that's a great question. There are several cards, I would say, in the life path that are really key. One of them we already touched on for you, which is the 6 of Hearts Soul Challenge, that it would be challenging for you to find peace in your heart. Another big one for you would be the challenge card connected to your 9 of Spades personality card, the King of Hearts, which would suggest that your dad would have been a big emotional challenge for you.
Wow. Oh my God. That's exactly where I took it back to with all my toxic relationships.
Yeah.
My father abused me sexually from the age of 5 to the age of 9. Holy
I'm sorry
mac and
to hear that.
cheese. You know what? I'm not, because I've realized in my lifetime that every challenge is a test that I'm meant to overcome to become the person I'm meant to be. And
Yes.
at the time it hurt, but now it doesn't hurt anymore because now I realize his role in my life.
His role in your life is to represent one of the biggest challenges in your life.
Exactly. And I overcame it. So I feel all the better
did.
for it.
Amazing. Good for you.
Thank you. Oh my God.
You are so inspiring. Wow.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
really blown away.
I think the two of you are as well. And I love your work. Alexander, Viki, thank you both so much. Thank you for the years of devotion that you have poured into rediscovering this wisdom, and for the tenderness with you share it. I can feel how deeply you both live what you teach, not just as a concept, but as a sacred partnership. And it has been a true honor to hold this space with you today. So please share with the listeners where they can learn more about your work.
So you can go to thesourcecards.com. That's our website. And again, on the homepage, plug in your birthday and you can find out your first 2 cards to play. And that's where you can get the book and lots of other offerings. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and the handle's the same at The Source Cards.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for a fabulous conversation.
Such a pleasure.
Absolutely. So were the both of you. I wish we had so much more time. Next time, every couple is getting an hour minimum. And to you listening right now, thank you. Thank you for your willingness to look at your life with new eyes. Thank you for being brave enough to question the patterns you've been living in, and for being open to the possibility that you hold more power in your hands than you've ever realized. If today's conversation sparks something in your soul, I invite you to share this episode with a friend who might be feeling stuck in a loop. It might be exactly the key they need. And please take a moment to leave a rating or review for the show, because it helps us to continue to create this sacred space and reach more seekers just like you. Until next time, keep listening to your inner wisdom, and may you play the game of your life beautifully and intentionally.